All right. Anyway, that means and Yaglini takes it, and we get to move into the next set here. We got a nice one between Nanthelas and somebody else, FurbyFubar, I believe.
FurbyFubar, yeah, up in silver.
Yep.
How could you forget a name like that? My God,
Yeah,
it's
I
so
don't know.
memorable.
and I already did a little cast of this match, so I should know better.
Well, you cast so much, you can be
Yeah.
forgiven for them all sort of blurring together.
Yeah, I am casting like every match that happens while I'm
You're a wild man.
home. Well, it turns out, I'm not working that much, so I got time.
Yeah, don't we all have time on our hands these days?
Yeah. All right. Anyhow. Oh, what is this venue? Oh, they're talking about that. It's the menu party venue.
I love it. That's a very cool effect. I don't think I've seen that before.
Yeah, it is a Photoshop filter applied to a video. I did try doing it with new art, but unfortunately, it's hard to get a good background color chroma key that's not conflicting with the character colors. New art is just too colorful, unfortunately.
What can you say about the original old art design that this actually makes it look better?
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm sorry. Doesn't this look cooler? This looks cooler to me. I would have preferred this the first couple of years I was in the beta.
It does look pretty cool. Well, anyway.
It does.
We'll get into fixing bands anyhow. Checker did a good job, okay?
Under the circumstances.
They look good for the, considering he's a programmer and not a...
Oh, for programmer art, it's world class, of course.
Yes. All right, anyhow, let's get into it. Picking bands here. The first band, No Trees for Us. Redwoods is going down, thanks to Nanthelas.
Well, it's not Aquarium.
Yeah.
Yet. We'll see.
And it's still not Aquarium, because it's a gallery, apparently.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay. It makes sense. Gallery, we saw earlier in this set. We saw why people don't like to play gallery.
Yep, someone hates art more than they hate sharks, apparently.
Art, sharks, and books, the three worst things in the world.
Yep.
Art, sharks, and trees.
Yep, trees. Trees are...
Same thing, books.
Yeah. Yep, trees are pre-books.
We hate every stage of the book process, from tree to the final product. We hate art, we hate the canvas... We hate all of it.
Yeah, trees are books, soon TM, basically. All right. Anyhow, the restriction from Nanthelas is veranda. Apparently, not too many shenanigans going on there. And then the next restrict, pub.
Okay, so you're telling me Aquarium is still in the cards?
Aquarium is still in the cards, but apparently these players don't really care about that. What they prefer is, at least Nanthelas prefers ballroom.
You can't blame them.
There is another occlusion venue that's still in the cards, though, and that is Double Tayen, which is happening.
Double Tayen. I like that a lot. I like it with two fewer guests. I feel like the sniper has control again. It feels less chaotic. I am very excited
you
to
say
cast
that now, but I guess I should mention now they they goofed up when they played, and the first 3 games of Tayen actually have two more guests than it should. I guess it has 14. So I think it's is that the standard?
That's the original. Yeah, that's last season.
So they played under the standard mode for the first 3 Tayen games.
I got to be honest. If you notice it after the 3rd, you have to play it for the 4th too. But I guess whatever you do stands. So
yeah. Well, my understanding of the rules is that if once it's noticed, if the next game has started and you hadn't noticed the previous games, then they stand.
That's very unlucky for whoever sniped last there. Then I'm afraid.
We shall see. To be honest, I didn't really notice when I was casting either. So, whatever. Anyhow, veranda is the final venue.
Buying into the restrict from Nanthelas.
So we got library and veranda for the last 2. So big boys coming out. In the end.
Wow. 2 doubled 4-8 venues and then 2 singled 5-8 venues. A lot of missions tonight.
Yep. All right. Anyhow, we get more ballroom. It's always nice.
Yeah, it's fun.
It is fun.
Yeah.
Perfectly balanced, as all venues should be.
Yep.
Nanthelas is going to be the one to open up the festivities on the spy side of things. FurbyFubar Why is that the hard name for me?
You had no trouble with Interbeejum or Uglini or any of these other names.
It's fine. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
It tricks you into thinking it's going to be easy because it's so phonetic, but then it just twists the tongue.
I never expect that first B for some reason.
It's okay. It's not like they have us here to, talk or anything.
Starting things off at the green bookcase.
Where we blend in pretty well in this
that is true.
monotone outfit. To say, well, I shouldn't say that. There are 3 different shades of green on this character, so they're really mixing it up color-wise.
Yeah.
Don't be ridiculous. That's green. That's forest green. That's Kelly green. They're totally different.
Stepping into conversation now with the seduction target. Not talking too quickly, being at least polite enough to wait her turn. That brings us up to a green test flirt for 51%.
My question on Ballroom for most players is, which one is it? Purloin or Bug? Because it's usually one or the other, and generally, if I see it's Purloin a lot more than Bug, I tend to assume, sometimes right, sometimes not, that means they have pacing issues, because Purloin is usually the last-ditch effort on Ballroom when things don't go as planned, whereas Bug is generally a little more planned out.
Interestingly to note, despite all the activity and the back statues there is still a fresh print on the middle one.
That's amazing. And look at all these highlights, too. So even though the Nanthelas doesn't have a lot of progress yet, Furby doesn't have a lot of control of this party yet either.
That is very true indeed. Nanthelas looks like he might be heading to statue. No, it's just to the empty conversation.
Thought about doing something and thought, nah.
Thought about it, thought better of it.
Nah is how Nanthelas starts. Worth pointing out. Are we close enough to our seduction target here? Yes.
It doesn't matter either way. It's 85%. Coming out of a white test. This is a very slow game. Minute and 20 left to play and no mission completions as of yet. Time ad on a green test coming out of Nanthelas.
And look at the timing on it, because the 45 seconds it added brought us up high enough that we're not near any beeps when it happens, right? That's the thing. You don't want to be just above a minute marker, because then it's like a functional red test, the beep reminding the sniper of the clock. So the timing on that time ad actually is really good, I think.
Into center statues. Unfortunately, it's the wrong center statues. The other one had been smudged, so it would have been difficult at this point, but flirt is now done as well, so back to a minute and 20 to play. This time with 2 missions done, and the contact still available.
And the presence of mind to not stand near our seduction target, Nanthelas playing this smart and prudent. And with that time ad, we still have a lot of ways to finish, as you mentioned. Not only do you need a contact, but you might want to use contact to distract from the 4th mission anyway.
Well, Double Agent steps away. It looked like we were going for that contact, but not going to happen immediately. 50 seconds left on the clock.
This bug is not being guarded very closely right now. Now it is. But for a while there, FurbyFubar was not protecting it, and there were a lot of opportunities.
40 seconds. Not in the ambassador's personal space, it looks like. Briefcase goes down. We're not going to be able to get a fingerprint. 30 seconds to play. Time is starting to run short. Drink in hand now. This is getting scary. Especially
Double Agent statues.
Statues.
Oh, and we can't purloin because we already have a drink.
And contact comes off.
General's talking.
But there's no SDA here.
Oh, goodness.
6 seconds. There's nothing left to play for. It's going to be a green test at the end. Can he hit it? It is green. No! 1 second too late.
Wow. The bar must have been 90% filled up on that time ad. That was so close to taking. And then it would have hung, and Furby was not looking at that angle. They were guarding the ambassador from the right, so I think there's a really good chance you were going to get away with that too. Oh, I think the key is not taking that purloin and not taking that bug. Just sitting there in that conversation with a minute left, not doing either mission.
He also went to a pad further away than what he needed to, I would say. There was a closer window pad that he could have gotten to in time.
I mean, I don't know if either of those missions were going to work, but I think you had to take them at that point in the game. And we could see from our side, at least, that the bug was available at times, and there's a decent chance that if they timed it right, they were going to be fine.
That was 0.1 second.
Oh, brutal. Absolutely brutal.
And now FurbyFubar steps in to the spy side after going up 1-0. Nanthelas on the sniper looking to answer back in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Most striking thing looking at Furby's numbers on Ballroom is that they don't bug very much. It's usually other things that swap about twice as often as bug. That is very unusual, because bug, a popular mission on Ballroom, to say the least.
Indeed. But this time it's going to be the early green purloin during the... Well, not really the time of chaos. Everyone had more or less settled down by that point, but very early on in the game.
Oh, that might have been free. Another reject. Oh, this is going to be rough.
Tucked right in front of the ambassador. Still no purloin coming off. Pair of inspects. There's the purloin.
I don't know if they can see.
Look at it.
Toby's back.
Going
Toby's
all
back.
the way around. Now sees the list isn't there, so he's not gonna know it's not Smallman. Oh, gets a highlight on Furby.
Does he remember Walt? Walt's at center statues afterwards, too. That's really big.
Okay, now this is scary for everyone involved. First flirt comes off for 31%, but that's not the story at this point.
You need to make sure that character, Mr. Pencil Stash there, has a real banana bread. You must make that happen.
In conversation with the double agent, this is stressing me out because Pencil Stash is nowhere nearby.
Don't do it. Do not do it. Oh,
Yeah,
God,
right.
no!
Oh, no! One tech comes off! Is this
Teal,
just a
though.
shot?
I think Teal was in, though, so that's okay. No, was she entering?
No,
Teal happened.
Teal was leaving a conversation.
We knocked out the only other two people in the chain. Oh, no. Disastrous.
I think this might be over. I think this might be done and dusted already, and Nanthelas just waiting for confirmation. In conversation with the seduction target, bit of a messy entry.
Did we get shot for any talk here? We might.
Yep, that's what it is. Steps in, talks quickly. It's a green flirt, but it doesn't matter. The shot comes off, and Nanthelas absolutely answers back.
So I'm looking at the replay spy camera, and I noticed that when they go into statues after that reject, they do not rotate the camera to see what happens afterwards. They look straight down and they focus on the ambassador and the statues. If they rotated the camera while they're doing the inspects, they would have seen Walt reject, and they might have seen Teal take too. And you absolutely have to do that, because if you do that and you keep at least one of them in for the BB, especially Pencil Stash, who had inspects done at center statues there, and I think, geez, wasn't the ambassador at center statues too? So Pencil Stash would have had potential purloin, inspects, and a print already, and then you give them a real BB. How do they not get shot?
I know.
But the spy camera told the story. Furby was not looking to see what happened after the reject, which shows you that the plan was, I'm going to get away with this totally clean, and I don't really care what happens afterwards. I'm not even going to be a suspect. They underestimated Nanthelas just a little bit, though, because Nanthelas did have the chain of custody down.
It is now 1-1. Nanthelas back under the gun. FurbyFubar holding it. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
That was just a very, very winnable game there. You got the little bit of luck you needed with a second reject, and then the rejector goes to center statues. That's all you should need to put the sniper, at minimum, in a very difficult position where they have to flip a coin at best for the win. Instead, you let them off the hook, and they take the win.
Slow start from Nanthelas. A pair of lonely conversations. Someone finally drops in to say hi. So Nanthelas is just going to hang out here for a while. Actually, the double agent drops in as well, so we might be able to make something of this.
Well, Nan has to be mindful of what happened last game. You got to say, you know what? I almost got away with a lot of stuff. I got away with the time ad, too. But my pacing was the problem. I got to get something done.
And steps away for the first flirt for 34%. This is a very slow start.
Yeah, we've lost a whole minute, and the flirt is less than a third done.
It still could be a third if we get close on the next two, but Nanthelas doesn't seem keen on moving. Double agent conversation is starting to fill up, but we step away to windows. If this isn't a time ad, I'm going to be sad. It is a time ad. I'm not sad.
It's a white test.
Test adds 45 seconds to the match. Doesn't trigger any beeps, though.
No, one other character at windows. That's Bling Twin there. And that's it, and no indication that Furby sees it either.
Second white flirt, just barely close enough to get the 34% off of it. We're now at 66. One more flirt needed. The contact finally comes off for one low light. It was almost two, but one got knocked back up.
And that's pretty darn good for Ballroom. So Nanthelas at least has kept the suspect pool very large, but Furby held their shot last time too, even with that time ad. So I think at this point, even with the suspect pool large, you need to get things done, and that's a good start right there.
Purloin. This could be big. Few rejects already.
Ooh, this is getting good.
Bit of an awkward path into the conversation with the seduction target. The Purloin gets taken.
A highlight takes it too.
Highlight does take it, but FurbyFubar's not looking.
And the highlight is next to the ambassador now too. This is the only highlight in the party, by the way. Highlight before all this started.
Another take, too far away in the next flirt. It's 96%. Minute and 30 left to play. Has he noticed the list gone yet?
Oh no, if we take an innocent drink now and the list hasn't even been noticed, we could get shot for doing this too well.
Doesn't take the drink, thank goodness.
I don't know if the reject will hurt them too now, because what if they look after this take? Then they'll think it's two people.
Bug attempt on, and the ambassador comes through. That doesn't take. Minute and 15 seconds is where we stand right now.
Furby sees the list!
It finally happened!
40 seconds later, at least, a whole new reject chain is started. And if they're smart, they must understand, I haven't noticed this at all. I can't lowlight for it. I don't know who did this.
There's the seduction finally getting finished up. We are now under a minute.
You can probably bank on a stiff shot this time.
You do as Furby right now.
You have to realize that you missed it, take a couple of aggressive lowlights, try to remember a little something, and then you have to shoot behaviorally for a finish. If you really have no idea.
No lowlights yet, as Nanthelas steps into side statue.
Side statue. Interesting choice. Is it going to be statue? It almost has to be, right?
I think so. Under 30 seconds, the swap comes off!
General's in the way!
Got a little bit of a glance at it. 4 seconds, 3 seconds, he's not looking, and Nanthelas gets away with it.
Salmon blocks the statue at the beginning, and right before he clocks out, General comes in for a blocking shift. Tall men for the win. The swap does it.
If he wanted to check it, he could have seen it. But FurbyFubar's eyes and mind were elsewhere.
Wow. Little bit of luck from the party that time from Nan, and they jump all over it. But really, that whole game, of course, is just Furby not noticing that Purloin until so much later.
Absolutely. That puts Nanthelas up by 1 and on the sniper side as FurbyFubar tries to get one more in 3, 2, 1, playing it. This is awkward. This is just awkward.
Yeah, I think the ambassador's bugging us.
It certainly looked that way. Innocent conversation now that the ambassador's gone, though, and FurbyFubar.
We're highlit for possibly having been bugged. Look at the queen, too. Yep. Smashed in next to the ambassador, they're both highlit.
Those people have either both bugged or are flirting with each other or both of those things at the same time.
Yep. Oh, that is a very short window stay to go get this briefcase. Assuming we get it, yeah, we're obligated.
So that's a fingerprint. First bit of progress of the game.
This would be a perfectly decent way to start if you weren't already suspected for a bug you didn't get. But now, the very first thing you did after picking up suspicion for the bug is you went over to a window, stayed there about a second, and then immediately fingerprinted. So Nanthelas is going to be... It's not looking good. Like, Nanthelas right now is thinking, okay, at some point, I want to see what these highlights do after the potential bug. Do they start acting like a spy, or do they stop acting like a spy? And immediately, Furby started acting like a spy. You got to give them a reason to stop looking at you at some point.
Well, this is it. Just chilling in an empty conversation for a little while. Goes convo to convo, picks up a first flirt for 32%. This is slow. Oh, hello, Ambassador.
I mean, if you actually had that bug, it'd be fine pacing, but you don't, and you are being stared at. Nanthelas is really looking at this.
Now?
That
Nope,
was
it's
it.
gone.
You had Toby and Queen covering for you, and 2 statue visitors calling out for those highlights.
The bug around the back doesn't take, has to go around Queen. And just right-clicked a little bit too soon.
Oh, so now we've attempted to bug, and we've not attempted to bug, and we're suspected for a bug, and we don't have a bug.
This is a problem.
This is a big
Picks up
problem.
3 inspects at the back statues.
And they could have gotten away with that too. They really could.
And we need a green test on this flirt too, because we're too far away. 1:05 left on the clock. Everything's falling apart. It's not a green test. It's not even a flirt. It's a contact. So that's a second mission, but...
I mean, I mentioned Furby doesn't bug very often on Ballroom, so this is a little out of character, and this might be the fruits of that, right? When you don't do something very often, sometimes the micro suffers a little bit.
Yeah, Seduction's gone. We're still at 32% with 40 seconds to play. We do have 1 print, but we're not going to be able to finish missions here unless we move really fast. There's the close white for 66. It's still not looking good, and it doesn't matter because Nanthelas thinks we have a bug.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I want to find this here. There's a little at Kletos. Please find the replay from like 34 seconds to like 32. I don't know what to call this, Tobo, but you and I have seen it. That little sniper reticle drift, where it just sort of goes in the general direction of the spy, like 50 pixels, which is another way of saying I'm about to shoot this person. It's the telltale sign, isn't it? I don't know why it happens, but it almost always tips us off. If you guys have ever seen me guess a shot that you didn't think was coming, I want you to know my secret weapon is that little reticle drift.
Yeah, it's like I'm thinking of shooting this person, so I am instinctively going to look at them.
They don't even always go. Yeah.
Yep. And then I'm going to shoot.
Yep. Sometimes they don't even get that much closer. It's just a little bit, and that way it happened right after they entered and talked. That was it. And you're right. Crediting them with the bug, shoots them at the first time they could be done. And hey, they did attempt a bug after all, but that was the sign that that game was about to end.
Nanthelas is powerful, dude.
Yeah, pretty darn good shot. I mean, look, Nanthelas took a season off and came back, but you usually come back a little rusty, but what happens is when it comes back to you, it comes back fast, and your sniper can get scary quick, and we saw it there.
Absolutely. Nanthelas now on the spy in the first of Tayen with too many partygoers as FurbyFubar picks up the rifle in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Listen, you said play-by-play was fun, so you have nobody but yourself to blame here. It could have been my problem trying to pronounce that name tonight, but no. It's all on you. I will not bail you out here. You can't outsource the usernames.
On the first flirt.
And yeah, you can see right away, like, Tayan just looks crazy, right? You're not crazy, people.
Green Purloin coming in the back of the front conversation. There it gets taken, and FurbyFubar, I think, has no idea.
I think Furby is forgetting Purloin exists again.
Yeah, I think so. By the time he sees it, it's going to be too late, and there's a look at it.
Maybe. I mean, it's on screen, but did they notice? They're not reacting. Here's the thing. If they were onto it even a little bit, they would be able to low-light all those early statue visitors for it, because they were statues within seconds. So they have 4 early highlights that they should be able to knock out if they are even just a little on the Purloin, but they're so far behind it now that now they can't.
Goes back for the flirt once again. This time brings us up to 67% after another relatively close white. Now stepping away to the green bookcase for a print. So that's 1 print. Purloin done, 67% on the flirt. Green book in hand as we step away, and back in conversation with the seduction target, but I don't know if we're in range for a white flirt. We're not! It's 99!
Banana bread.
Contact comes off. We just got low lit. Now we're not low lit anymore because we just contacted.
Yeah, that was like a delayed purloin thing maybe. Then they thought, well, if they're talking during the banana bread, maybe I should rethink this. I think the print, by the way, is very smart because if Furby, you asked me last time, what do you do when you think you missed the purloin? I said you have to shoot for mission completes a little behaviorally late. You want to avoid that if you're Nan. If you got away with this mostly clean, you want to avoid something like center statues late that gives them an out with a desperate low percentage shot. Going for fingerprint is a really good way to finish here, I think.
I think so. Minute and 25 seconds left. Nanthelas still doesn't have the flirt done, but has a lot of progress. Looks like he's just, never mind. A shot comes off, and it's not the correct one.
Nope, it's sorry, and that's what the sniper's going to be too, because Nanthelas wins again on the back of a purloin.
Yeah. One of these
Wow.
days, Furby's going to have to start getting on top of this guest list.
Yeah, one of these days, Fluffy Refurbished is really going to have to figure this out.
Fluffy Refurbished. Oh my god.
I was just about to ask you, by the way. I was about to say, how long does someone have to hold a book before we're sure it's not going back in the right case? Because that was coming up on a minute. But before I even had a chance to ask, a Civ gets shot anyway, because that's what happens when you miss a purloin that long.
That is very true. Furby on the spy side, Nanthelas on the sniper. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
I like the big brain move of just saying half the name. I think that's smart. It's good. Very good.
At least until I get used to the first half. 34% on the flirt at statues. Should be able to pick up a pair of inspects here, assuming Swallman puts that thing down. Never mind, we put it down together.
Look at all these statue visitors, my god. And look, in your defense, FurbyFubar sounds like one of those Ron Burgundy vocal warm-up phrases, doesn't it? FurbyFubar, FurbyFubar, there we go. Roll tape. Boy, that's a lot of statue visitors. I mean, I know the statues are completely exposed, which is not great for the spy, but this is great for the spy.
Yeah, absolutely. Just legions upon legions touching them and inspecting them and just making the sniper's life miserable. This is a very full conversation as the contact comes off. Furby is
really
almost invisible back there.
This is really good. This is really good. This is a very good start for Furby on several fronts.
Kind of eyeing up the Ambassador a little bit here, too, so we might see a bug soon. Never mind, Ambassador leaves.
It's worth remembering that there are 2 characters more than there should be right now. So
yeah,
that helps.
That's one of the reasons it helps. Yeah,
There's
it really,
too many
really does.
people.
Literally too many. 2 spelled both ways, many people.
Under 2 minutes now. That was the incorrect arm, but it works out.
The regret arm, as we've like to say, the wrong arm in both senses, the inadvisable arm, but it's just not seen. Nan was kind of zoomed out.
Too many people.
Yeah, it turns out Taeyan with 14 people is really hard. That's why they changed it.
FurbyFubar looking for a way into that conversation, can't really find a spot, so just drifts on up to the front windows. Under 1 minute and 30 now. Back in the conversation we go. Now we are banking on a green test on one of these next 2 flirts because this is too far away.
Yeah, that's a problem because this has actually been a really, really solid game so far. But you need to finish this flirt soon, and you need to find one more mission. Presumably it's inspects. I think you want to flirt, go to inspects to break it up, and then go back and finish and dare them to shoot you just for completing the inspects.
Plan. It's a green test. He does hit it. It's 70%. We just need a reasonably close white now, but he's got to get to statues in the meantime. Under 1 minute to play.
It's not just the statue choice either. Reasonably close white is a given on almost any venue, but on Taeyan, it is not unusual to have your seduction target flanked on either side so that you literally can't stand next to them. So there's still a risk here.
70 is a 4% cushion, though.
Yeah. You need someone to not be in a packed conversation, though.
Let's see what happens. Here come the inspects. There go the inspects, and there goes the shot on Smallman. That's why you pick him as the seduction target.
To make sure he's not cast, yeah. And it helps, by the way, if he goes to statues early, splits after a banana bread, and then in the waning seconds of a Taeyan game with too many people, goes into the back conversation next to the Amba. Smallman did not want to survive that game.
Doesn't even wait for him to talk. As soon as he's back there, they starts lining up the shot.
Yeah,
Damn,
I don't blame them. That was
shocking.
rough luck. So Furby was actually playing a really good game, and I think they were going to win anyway, which should reduce the sting a little bit for Nan, which is necessary because Nan really got hosed on the luck there. So if Furby had been playing a really rough game and wasn't close to finishing, that would have really bailed them out. But I think in this case, they might have been okay either way.
Yeah, I think you're right. Nanthelas loses the first game on Tayen from his sniper side. Back on the spy now, though.
There's no small man here.
Huh.
What?
What?
What's wrong with
All right.
Nanthelas? Anyway,
What?
I just wanted to mention that.
All right. A Tayen game with no Smallman in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Look, sometimes I like to true random, but there are a couple characters and a couple venues that I gotta make sure are there one way or the other. And
Bug?
top of the list is this Smallman
Bug?
on Tayen.
Okay, no bug. It's going to be a flirt instead. Distant white for 25%. Not generally what you like to see at the start of a game, but it's early.
Chat float's an interesting idea. How about every time someone gets shot, they stay dead and you can't use them in the next game?
Wow.
So Smallman got shot.
That would be an interesting tournament. The venues
Yeah.
get smaller every match.
But hey, it means when you shoot Smallman for being a civ, at least you don't have to worry about him next time.
That's true.
Here's another thing, though. How long until the sniper's confident Smallman's not here? They don't. I mean, how often do you look at the portraits, right? I can't tell you how many times, 50 or 60 seconds into a game, I've said, oh, there he is. Oh, God.
Yeah. All right. In conversation with the seduction target once more. Another white test. It's 59%. If he wants to hit that 3 flirt, it's going to have to be green on the next one.
Yeah, it's a little risky. And by the way, when I do say, oh, God, Smallman always says, oh, please call me Smallman.
So 2 inspects and 2 flirts in pocket right now. Into the green bookcase with the seduction target. Can we hit green? We can. Flirt gets done in 3 as we pick up a green book.
Yeah, and we already have 2 inspects done too. We might already be suspected for the bug because, you know, it's Tayen. But remember, we don't have those extra 2 people.
It's going to be an animation transfer from the back. Furby zoomed in on something else entirely, so not going to see it.
Oh, it's not just that. The shoji was not covering us. The outside wall of the building was covering us because Furby was as far left as you can go.
Oh, that's not a bug attempt you usually see. It doesn't take, but also doesn't appear to have been noticed. So everything winds up being fine. Back into the statues we go. Inspects are now done, so that's 2 missions down. And green microfilm in pocket with 1:15 left on the clock, stepping into conversation with the double agent. That was a long sentence.
That was a long sentence, but you handled it perfectly. Came out way smoother than Furby's username, don't worry.
That's not a high bar.
So here's the question. Is this going to be half a microfilm we use just because it was there and we never cash it in? Because look at this front bookshelf. It's so
I don't
exposed.
know. We might be cashing it in now.
I think you got to take it away and do it behind a conversation or something, right?
I think so. I think we take it to the back and do the microfilm back there. 40 seconds to play as we step away with the blue book. We are indeed taking this thing to the back windows, but the Soji is not looking good. It's really exposed back there. Now we've got Taft in front of us, luckily. Here comes the green. Oh, it's a green test, too. That's going to be invisible. 20 seconds left to get this
We're barely
going
to get back in time. Gotta hurry. She's
it's
slow.
A very slow character. 13 seconds, 12 seconds. It's going to be overtime, but how much overtime? 3 seconds of it. The shot comes off before it matters. Nanthelas survives.
Wow. So close. So close. Furby's camera angles were the difference in that game. Last time it was the purloins. This time it was these extreme far left camera angles that kept giving things away. The first microfilm and then the second too, even though the ambassador was in the line of sight. But with a green, I don't know if it was going to matter. That was Nanthelas absolutely threading the needle that game.
Yeah. Oh, and my cast, my assumption for this shot was that it looks like Disney stops short of the pad because he briefcase is on the other side of the wall.
Yep.
And I don't think Furby was aware of that and shot
Well,
before the turn for picking up a briefcase.
I mean, it could be, but the shot is so quick. I wonder if they were also just going to shoot them for the fingerprint either way, right? Because they snap over when that happens, right? They don't sort of do like a double take, which normally you don't expect people to miss pads, right? It's something that surprises the sniper, and they usually take a second to decide something. But they snapped like they were waiting for the briefcase. So I don't know.
Yeah,
that's a tough one.
I'm pretty sure he didn't have any other fingerprint, but 14 character Tien, maybe you're just never gonna know that.
Wow. Well, their timing was right. The spy was finishing. A shot had to come off, just not that one.
And now we get to watch the game of actually regular, proper Tien with 2 less partygoers. So it's going to be a little bit less crazy as Furby steps into the spy side, Nanthelas on the sniper. In 3, 2, 1, playing it. Guess who's back? And invisible. FurbyFubar picks up that first flirt, but it's not close enough. It's only 47%, so whatever happens next, it's not going to be a 2 flirt.
And if you guys are wondering why Smallman is a seduction target so often, it's because the only role you can give Smallman other than spy that ensures they will not be an SDA in their forecast.
And because of this, it's you just flirt pair a lot of people with Smallman.
Right? And not only that, but you get to red flirt Smallman if you want and just make him look even crazier than usual. So there's a lot more options there. But as you said, there is a downside too when people notice. So you can't abuse it too much.
Not a very fast start from Furby, though. Already down to 2.5 minutes, and we just have that 1 flirt still.
So it's funny, in each of these last 2 games, a Civ gets shot even though the spy was almost certainly going to win clean from missions anyway. That's Tien for you.
Yep, you're not wrong.
Those are the 2 defining attributes of Tien. Spies can get missions done, and snipers will shoot Civs anyway.
Second flirt coming off, another green. It's 98%. I'm sure Furby is as mad as I am, but we are still in conversation with the double agent, so at least there's that.
As mad as you are, that is a high bar to clear, username aside.
I get real mad when people do it.
It's like a rom-com. You just want them to get together, you know? You want the romance to work out.
It's a red test purloin behind the shoji. It doesn't matter.
Statues!
Oh, there it goes. It actually did matter a little bit. Now we pick up the statues, but...
Is that highlight for could have just red purloined and gulped at statues, or is it a highlight for statues? I don't know.
The world may never know.
I mean, honestly, Nan is currently reacting like nothing behind the shoji mattered, right? Like, I'm just not... Like, I think it's when Queen approaches, they just assume that person's at statues now. It doesn't register that a purloin might still happen. They haven't actually picked the statue up, so my guess is they sort of wrote them off mentally for a moment there.
That is true. We are now at 2 missions complete, including a hard tell. This is going to be our seduction getting finished up. Under 50 seconds now to play. Is Smallman gonna die? Smallman's gonna die. All right, that's fine.
I don't think Nanthelas knows how to shoot anybody else on Tien.
I don't know how often they're gonna have to, but it turns out in this case,
well, only 2. Twice. In this set.
Wow. Well, normally we try to go back and analyze and try to figure out why that Civ shot came off, but I don't know how necessary that is here.
Well, he was near the purloin.
Oh, that's more than reason enough.
And he's probably taken bug pass.
Listen, Smallman wasn't in one of these parties, and I'm still surprised he didn't get shot there.
Stepping into the library, Nanthelas is currently up 5-3. But it's Furby who's got a little bit of momentum at the moment. Let's see if Nanthelas can find his way onto match point from the spy side. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Most people on library like Purloin and Bug, but not Nanthelas. Prefers swapping microfilm so far. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. If it's like most people on library, though, it's going to be that direct transfer, not the animation transfer, even though they did that just a couple of games ago.
Very early white test on the time ad at that back window. Now into green bookcase to open up the festivities. See if he does anything with this. And does indeed take it out, now stepping into conversation with the seduction target. It's a white test flirt too, so it's only 34%, which is not ideal, but I mean, we'll take it.
That's what the time ad's for.
It is indeed.
Nanthelas is saying, well, I've needed them a few times. Why don't we just get this out of the way early, especially at that back window? There's one place on library other than the front where you can still time add, and that's the spot.
Green book goes back where we found it. Nanthelas stepping in for yet another flirt.
Yep, using the book to break up the flirt. I think that's a pretty good way to lose suspicion while still making progress, potentially.
Absolutely. And because of that time ad, we've got the time to spend on it. So Nanthelas getting those first pair of flirts, staying completely under the radar. Now I wouldn't be surprised if he just hangs out for the timer, but decides not to. Has other business to attend. Like maybe another time ad. Wouldn't that be funny?
Listen, we don't have much time. We have to hurry up and add more.
Yeah, if you don't have enough time, just get more time, forehead.
So that you can spend that time doing other things.
Like getting more time.
Right, yes, exactly.
Into the statues we go for our first pair of inspects and our highlight.
And yeah, look, partial inspects, just like partial flirts, it's something you can just do in the meantime before better opportunities present themselves. But there are 3 minutes left now, so even with the time added, at a certain point you're going to have to make a move.
Under 3 minutes now.
I think they're going to be looking at swap, though, and it's probably going to be near the end, though. You normally don't see swap anywhere but the end of these games.
Another time ad, this time green. And we do have the setup for the inspect swap at the end.
Yeah, that's why the side statue...
Not a great character for it, though. We do finish up the flirt, so we've got that squared away, but Alice is thin.
Yeah, to say the least. So the side statue combined with propensity for swaps, that's really significant. I think that's a no-talk. That's a no-talk with just our seduction target.
It's library. No one's going to notice a no-talk. There's so much vying for the sniper's attention here.
That's true. But yeah, when you see a player who has swapped a fair bit on a venue, and then they go to side statue like that first, you're right. It seems like it's setting up for the inspect swap as the ender, which is already popular enough without those two factors. But hey, look, the seduce is done, inspect's part way, but swap's not going to do it. You're going to need one more mission, even assuming the contact is coming in somewhere between now and then.
Into blue bookcase we go. 2 minutes and 30 on the clock. We are able to pick up a fingerprint here.
That might be the 5th mission I'm talking about, but they're going to have to find another one quick. The time is running down already, even with those 2 time adds. We have burned up a lot.
Well, we might be able to get it all done in one fell swoop once the ambassador steps away from this here statue.
Yep. Got to squeeze in, get that banana bread, and do them all. That would really be powerful. 3 missions at one site.
Let's see if Nanthelas can make it happen.
They look like they're waiting for someone to leave, and they do.
It takes a few moments, but they do manage to get into the conversation here. Should see this contact come off any moment now, but the double agent steps away.
That's going to ruin your plans. Although, if you do the inspect fingerprint and you hit the green swap, you can BB to distract from it, too. So there's still some options here. But I think you waited too long there. That was a heck of a setup, and now it's gone. And we're not showing any interest in that statue either.
Double agent on the return. No, goes to statues. 1:10 now.
Look, even if you don't want to swap, I think you got to go to that statue, finish the inspects and the print, and you have way more options late. You could purloin BB, whatever.
Speaking of purloin, it's a green one.
There's the play. There it is.
Statue.
We had the order wrong, but the basic idea right.
There's the print. There's the inspect.
Silent library game?
There's
No!
the shot. It doesn't wind up mattering. The purloin bites him.
And that was the plan. Look at the swap was just triggered at the end as they were shot. The plan was to try to go silent library game. How on brand for a library. You don't see it work very often, though, and it doesn't here either.
Yeah, that was a really good shot by Furby.
Yeah, they were really on top of it.
Furby's been getting bitten by these purloins quite a lot. This time, actually managed to stay on top of it.
My guess is partial suspicion for that print, partial suspicion for the time ad, and this time determined not to lose to the purloin.
Apparently caught the first time ad, actually.
I mean, that works too. I mean, so often when you see a shot like that on a venue like this before they could theoretically be finished, when it seems a little aggressive, usually it does mean they were at least moderately suspicious of the time ad. Yeah, and in this case, it could have been either one because there were two.
Either way, that's another game for Furby as he steps into the spy side of things against Nan's sniper in 3, 2, 1, playing it. And this could be the tie game.
This would be a heck of a comeback for Furby. That was a really good shot after all that progress from Nan. But you need to match it with a spy win on library, and that is easier said than done. And Furby has had a lot of trouble finishing on library.
Furby was down 5-2 at one point, now 5-4, and on the spy side. In conversation with a double agent as well, but lots of people outside of conversations.
Furby has almost never reached countdown in about over a dozen library games as Spy 2. And if Nanthelas has studied those games at all, they're going to know to wait them out, and that's before we see how slow their character is.
Spending a lot of time on this start, too. The contact comes off, lets off 3 lowlights, including Smallman, but Smallman's not a huge threat on this map. Not able to pick up the flirt out of it. This is a slow start from Furby.
Slow start from a slow character, and yeah, again, this is just something we see. Certain spies just consistently have trouble finishing on the 5-8 venues. Library even more than Modern, well, now that's 5-8 anymore, but Veranda still. Veranda at least is compact. Library is spread out. There are a lot of spies who play very, very well in one venue or another, but just have so much trouble reaching countdown on Library, even really good spies.
Difficult print on the briefcase. This could be huge. Isn't able to hit it.
And that's big. I like the difficult first because if you hit it, you can plan differently than if you miss it. I know I say that so often, but it bears repeating. In this case, at least now you know. You know you're still going to need to.
Green flirt could be huge, though. That's 51% on the close green.
I mean, you're at the point now where you it's not like a nice thing to have anymore. It's like a thing you need now.
Just under 3 minutes still to play, so lots of time, but we need to get so much done in that time with such a slow character.
Well, I dare say you could add a little time.
You're not wrong.
Even though it cost the spy the previous game, probably.
We are indeed going to add some time. It is a white test. Sniper was right there, but swings away just after the fact. I'm wondering if Nanthelas is worried about this.
There's the minute beep. Now they might notice. And there were several people at windows, though, and I see no reaction either, so I think this might be clean, and boy, did we need it.
Absolutely. Back into seduction range. It's not a green test, it's white. So 85% is where we stand with 2 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock.
It says white.
Might be able to set up for a reverse drive-by bug, and that's exactly what the attempt was. It doesn't take, though.
Nanthelas looking completely on the right side of the venue, though, guarding that purloin rather than the bug.
How does Furby play this? Because, man, we got the extra time, but we're really blowing all of it just hanging out in this conversation.
Yeah, and I think it might be one of those things where because the bug didn't take, they're worried there's a suspect for it as well, which we know for a fact they're not. And sometimes that can make you hesitant.
To the scene of the crime, we might be able to finish the flirt right here. It's not an easy path on the way in, but we are going to get the seduction done. That's 2 mission completions, 3 more to go with 1 minute and 45 on the clock. Doesn't seem to be interested in fingerprints. Doesn't seem to be interested in inspects. Where are these missions going to come from?
I mean, the two standard options
The
are
bug?
bug
The
and
bug
inspect swap,
is one!
off
Nanthelas on
screen.
the other end of the map!
But don't go to yellow shelves. What's it going to be? Inspect swap? You could inspect after a purloin.
I think it might be a microfilm. If we take this out now and head into green, no, it is not. Just puts the book back away.
But Nanthelas is so worried about Green Dress, looking for the statue behind Cowboy Hat. Can't see the statue, is so paranoid, is clearly chasing Green Dress with their laser, keeping Green Dress on screen.
I think it's going to be an inspect swap. We're into center statues just under a minute now. Highlight comes off. We get a print. So that might change our plans. This might dissuade us from taking that swap.
Yep. And Green Dress, you need Green Dress to be doing things because Nanthelas is keeping her the center of attention.
Just barely gets that third inspect done before 3 cycling. 33 seconds to play. Has the ambassador been touching things is the question.
You need to go stand next to them and force this, and it's not going to be close enough. Oh, it's going to be a purloin behind this pillar instead, it looks like.
It might be, but the briefcase just went down. I don't think there's time. 15 seconds.
Yep, if you'd set up there, if you kept walking and stood next to them, you would have had a chance, but no, it's going to have to be a purloin instead.
We have to go.
Where's Green Dress?
Nowhere near. We have to go. It's 3 seconds. Doesn't even go for it.
What?
I think he wanted to panic bug at the end, but got caught up on Seek. Runs out of time, and it's match point.
We had so many ways to win. The purloin, the bug if we decide earlier, or maybe just if you extend the game even. Green Dress gets shot. There's so many ways there. I think the key moment was stopping behind the pillar rather than going over and forcing the Amba to leave.
Yeah, well, so the thing which I believe Furby was going for, the ambassador just grabbed a drink, so he put a fingerprint on it. So I think Furby was thinking fingerprint over everything. I feel like he had time to get a purloin, though.
He wanted the print on the drink. By the time Toby offers, there's 3 seconds left. Yeah. There's no way that's going to happen in time.
Yeah, I feel like a purloin is possible.
It is possible, but so the funny thing is, if they're standing next to the Amba and they take the drink instead of the briefcase, then you have either option, whichever you think is less suspicious. But by standing over there and making Toby come over, oh, that's absolutely heartbreaking. You could see from Nanthelas' camera that the top suspect, the priority was Green Dress, and there's a really good chance that something like a late fingerprint, even if it forces OT, was not going to be enough.
Yeah. But anyway, if you get a purloin, if you get a white purloin, it'll start beeping overtime before the list disappears, which can fool a lot of people.
Yep, we've seen that very recently, as a matter of fact. I think there were a lot of ways to win that game, and boy, just a few more seconds. Think of all the idling, Tobo. A few more seconds shaved off at any point, and we can win that game.
It's a heartbreaker. It's a heartbreaker for sure.
I mean, imagine if you're just a slightly faster character.
Any of it, right? Yeah, if you never know. Like so many games, it doesn't matter. But you never know when 1 or 2 seconds is going to be the difference between not just the game, but points in the standings, the whole match too, which it might have been here. Oh.
Nanthelas on match point going in to Veranda. FurbyFubar coming out of a real heartbreaker of a spy game has to pick up the rifle and find a way to put it together on the last map just for a draw. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Here's the thing though. Furby has like a 90% win rate as sniper on Veranda. And you don't see that in mid levels. Obviously snipers skilled snipers win Veranda a lot, but that's like a Masters circuit kind of win rate, right? Like that's like diamond level Veranda. That's really good. Furby has a really good grasp of it, so there's a really good chance that they're going to be able to spy for the draw at least.
Yeah, that's like crazy Kaylee Veranda.
Yeah, that's way up there.
Next to the ambassador in conversation, also in with the seduction target, though at a bit of a distance here. Not going to take the bug, is going to take the flirt, and is going to hit a white test for 27%.
Yeah, the ST bailed on us the first time, but It's Veranda. You can flirt pretty aggressively, and nonetheless, you could see a little more emboldened in their flirts than they were in those early ballroom games, partially by the venue and partially just because I think they're settling in a little bit.
Nanthelas might just be going for another flirt here. Indeed is. This one is a little bit closer. Should be able to get full marks for it. There's the flirt. It's a green test this time. Up to 78%. So that's going to be a bit of a weight off Nan's shoulders because now we only need a reasonable white flirt, and that'll finish it up.
By the way, Veranda sniper win rates from people who played at least 20 total games. That's 20 in both roles combined at least. Legorv, number 1. Kaylee, number 2. Furby, number 3.
Good grief.
So, yeah. You still got to spy after this, though, but there's a really good chance you're going to at least get to spy for that marble.
We shall see as Nanthelas picks up Green Book. And does step away with it as well. So Green Book in hand, 78% on the flirt, 2 minutes and 5 left on the clock.
And Nan
really getting caught up on the twin there.
Yeah, that's rough. And I'll be really surprised if this book goes back where it's supposed to. Nan likes microfilm. Direct is a more popular option on Veranda. And I think we could be looking at another late swap, too.
Well, there's the flirt done. Again in conversation with the ambassador, but this time we have a book in that hand, so unlikely to be suspected for any shenaniganry. Time is ticking down pretty fast, though. We're already down to 1 minute and 30 left on the clock. Nanthelas bringing this book back. I suspect it'll go into red, as you were saying. Actually going for the double agent first. I think I like this play.
I mean, it's a pretty standard move, right? To put one more event that distracts the sniper between the book take and the book dump. And in this case, the contact, a pretty popular choice.
But neither of the SDA's in conversation as we step into the red bookcase.
I think we're okay, though. There was so much movement and chaos, it's really hard to be sure who was in and out, and we split immediately, and I really think this has worked. But there's going to have to be another mission later, and I think that's the kind of thing Furby gets you on. You can afford to miss one mission on Veranda 5-8, but you have to do another beyond the Softails, and that's going to be the tough part, I think. We're running out of time.
So we're adding a little bit more. It's a white time ad. Flirt done, microfilm done, contact done. Is Furby on this? Doesn't look like it.
I mean, even if you just give that to the spy, they still need to inspect twice and do one more mission. As I mentioned, it's probably going to be swap unless they get a great bug or Perlian opportunity. Gotta imagine it's going to be statues right here, and then one of the back statue sets for the inspect swap finish. That's usually the choice. The front ones are just like a hope they're not looking kind of move, but usually that's overthinking it. Usually the back statues are the way to go.
Under a minute once more. It's going to be a tight finish.
Well, it's been like that all night. Why not one more time?
Here we go. Into the back statues. Furby. Well, gets the highlight on Nan. Here's the inspect. Doesn't have it on camera. There's the swap.
Animation break.
Now he looks in. Now the shot comes off with 4 seconds remaining, and FurbyFubar takes it to the last game of the set.
I don't know if they were going to get caught, except that Furby's camera was just far enough to the left, and the ambassador was visible through the window on the spy's camera. I think Nan thought, I'm actually off screen. I can break animation and get out of here really quick. I think that was the idea, but they just misjudged it because they were on screen. The animation break almost certainly was noticed. So was the swap, and it's down to 1 game.
Man, so many of these games have come down to the littlest things.
Yeah. It's a game of pixels, of milliseconds, all that, and you're seeing why right here tonight.
And now, one more. Furby on the spy, Nanthelas on the sniper for the last remaining marble. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And 2 things I want to note about this. Furby has a great mission spread
it's
on Veranda.
Immediately an attempted bug. It doesn't take. It was on camera, but I don't think it was seen.
Yeah, I don't think so either. So we're fine. Doesn't hurt. Would have been really powerful, but Furby gets a lot of different missions done on Veranda. That helps a lot. And Nan has struggled on Sniper, winning just over half their Veranda games. So this is actually a surprisingly decent position for Furby to be in.
Picks up 51% on the flirt in the blue bookcase. Bit of a kind of gets caught between the ambassador and one of the conversations, so a little bit of an odd bounce popping out of that. But we're in a good position so far, I think.
So the mission spread's good enough that they could do pretty much any combination of missions, and it shouldn't be surprising to us. But I will say that Fingerprint quite high for Furby on Veranda. So that's the one I would be checking on the most here. And it can be very powerful because it's pretty easy to get just one hardtail by a sniper on Veranda.
That is very true. Furby takes an innocent tankard of beer.
Tank is the right way to say it, too. That thing is huge.
2 flirts as well, so that's pretty big. Seduction done already, under 3 minutes just now.
The liquid courage, I guess, is really working.
Where are we headed next is the question. Right now, just spending a little bit of time in conversation, draining the mug a little bit. Also draining the clock a little bit.
Yeah, we're in a little bit of trouble now, even with that quick flirt. By the way, notice the seduction target is Smallman again. Yeah, he'd better not be cast in this game.
Absolutely, another unfortunate bounce. And out to the time ad window we go. It is a white test, but probably won't matter too much out there.
No, Nan is very concerned about Purloin. I think that was taking up most of their attention there, and the ambassador was on the move too, so a pretty good time to time ad. The timing on the time ads has actually been really good from both players tonight.
I absolutely agree with that statement. Now, as Furby continues to idle, the clock ticks down past 2:30 once more. And Furby's looking a little bit lost here, not really sure where to go to make progress, so it's going to be a front set of statues.
Like I said, when you can't make partial progress on something like the Seduce, the first statue visit is the next best thing, but I would really be looking at a print right now, and I'm pretty sure the ambassador just left one at the green shelf.
And he also left one at this very statue, so that's 1 print and 2 inspects.
And he's leaving one in another statue right now. We have a lot of ways here, and Furby, as I mentioned, loves Fingerprint. I think you've got to go get one of these right now.
Yeah, I think so. This is a very clear path to victory now that we know where the ambassador's been. There's the contact coming off. It's a good contact, too.
Oh, it's great.
2 lowlights.
2 full conversations with FDAs in them. One of them is out, but there are no hard lowlights, basically. 1, 2, that's incredible. That's good for ballroom, let alone Veranda. If Furby can get one of these prints clean, and I think they can now, they are in a really good position to maybe score a marble in the end.
This is looking really good for Furby. If he goes to get this print, I think
Both
he
of them are
wants
still
to
there.
let it marinate for a little while there, because if he goes to if he's able to get the one at the statue, that's 2 missions done right there. If he wants to roll the dice on the swap, that can be all 3 at once. Here we go.
Big moment, big choice. Wrong statue, I think.
I think so. I thought it was on the right one. Yeah, there's no fingerprint here. Furby's gotta be scratching his head.
I mean, we could go statue to statue, and if there's a pending green, that would delay the amount of time it takes to. Nana's rolling all the way to the right. He's not even protecting against this swap very much. Wow.
Well, inspect is done.
Back just in time.
It is statue to statue. Here's the print.
We still have time to do something. We don't have to swap, though. We have options here.
Definitely do not have to swap, but will we anyway is the question. It doesn't look like Furby's going for it. 30 seconds to play as the statue goes down. Where is this last mission going to be? I suspect it's going to be a Purloin.
I think
so.
We
will find out soon enough.
Furby read the laser perfectly. He realized, no, this swap is being guarded. I will get caught.
It's a bug coming through! It was a good bug! I don't think Nanthelas has seen it. It's 5 seconds and there's no reaction! The shot comes off! Are you kidding me? He bails away! He gets away! The safety was off. Nanthelas was on top of things, but he just left it a split second too late.
Just a little bit too long. Just barely. Such a good bug. All you can credit is the path. All you can credit is the timing. And speaking of timing, yeah, 1 second earlier, and you win the set. Instead, it's a draw. And one of the most dramatic draws I think we've ever cast.
We were talking about how often it is that things come down to inches, how things come down to pixels. In this case, milliseconds.
So close. I have not seen many games as close as that. Most games, it doesn't end up mattering, but the thing is you never know which game it's going to be, and that's why you got to squeeze every last little bit out of every game that you can, because you never know when you're going to get hit by a heartbreaker like this. Not too bad. Nanthelas gets a point anyway for their trouble, but definitely had a win within reach, too.
What a match.
That is how you end a set, I believe.
And a cast, apparently.
Yep,
Jeez.
and a cat. Yep.
Wow.
That was a good one.
Excellent set from both players.
Yep.
You know. Wow.
Yep. Little juke right at the end there. I'm not sure if the shot was going to come off anyhow. Probably just a wee bit too late.
Yeah,
It's too
that's
late.
a good question.
Too late even for too late for sync.
That would have been the real heartbreaker, wouldn't
Yep.
it? Yeah. Yeah, but I think you're just seeing from the sniper side there, like, just not positive, right? If you're positive, you shoot after 4 or 5 seconds at best, but that's a tough shot to take in the waning seconds at the end of the match.